Hi, I'm Vaishali Shah, founder and creative director of Creative ID and Ananya Cards. At Creative ID, we help businesses get noticed by the right people for the right reasons. We create brands that people believe in, online, in print, and on social. And at Ananya Cards, we design exclusive stationery for life's most important celebrations, blending personality, culture, and craftsmanship in every detail. I'm delighted to welcome Carmen Taubman from Crew. She's here to share her take on how founders in Dubai really connect, collaborate, and get things done. I'd love for you to introduce yourself briefly, Carmen, and tell us a little bit about the work you do.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks, Vaishali, for having me. I'm Carmen. I'm the founder of Crew. Crew is a way for founders to intentionally connect with each other. So I'm trying to get away from the cringe networking that a lot of us as founders have experienced and intentionally connect them with ways that actually move their business forward. So instead of the inefficiencies of going to a networking event, you don't know who's in the room, I'm actually targeting the connections that you will meet.
Wonderful, I love that. So I've got some questions. Let's get started.
Sure.
Are curated, intimate networking moments more powerful than large-scale events? What do you think?
So I'm a huge fan of the curated, intimate moments. I like to think of it like going to a supper club. You know, you go to a dinner party. You think about those conversations that you have with people. You often walk away and you remember the conversations. You may even follow up with somebody that you meet at a dinner party. If you compare that to a conference where, I mean, there's some crazy conferences that happen with thousands of people that attend, and you might meet 20, 30 people during that conference. How many people do you actually follow up with? And how many people do you even remember their name, what they do, etc.? So if we look at the outcomes that happen from curated smaller events, there's a reason why Silicon Valley, for instance, hosts intimate dinners and business gets done. And you know, like there's a lot of noise that happens in these big conferences. So what actually is the outcome from large scale networking events? I'd say that it's pretty much unknown, you know, like there are some people that are really, really good as networkers. They're the champion networkers who they're very targeted with. If they go to these large scale events, they know, okay, I need to speak to this person, I need to speak to that person. That's being intentional. But most people aren't champion networkers. And that's where curated smaller groups can really help them meet the right people that they need to, have those deeper conversations that they need to have, and then hopefully drive meaningful outcomes from those conversations.
I completely agree. I'm very much quality over quantity. And I think it also depends on your personality. So for someone like myself, I call myself naturally introverted. I'm much better in smaller groups, more intimate groups, rather than larger groups where I feel a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm very much a fan of the curated intimate groups.
You can feel more like yourself. You know, you can actually have a chat with somebody where you don't feel like you're in this production line of tons of people and the goal is to just collect business cards. So I agree. I think that, you know, these smaller events, I've seen for myself that people feel more comfortable with being themselves, sharing more about themselves, whether it's personal, whether it's business, and really get into those more meaningful conversations that you need to have.
Exactly. And also because it's about relationships, it's not just about business. So like, as you said, the personal side as well kind of comes through.
Right.
Lovely.
I mean, well, if you think about it with business, you have to develop trust with people. You know, like business is tough. And if you're going to do business with other people, you want to be able to trust the people that you're doing it with. You can't develop that trust if you're having shallow conversations with people.
Exactly. I always say that trust is the new currency.
Absolutely.
Are people in Dubai genuinely building relationships or just collecting business cards for show?
Good question. I think in Dubai we have a lot of noise. There's a lot of events. We're in the silly season right now, and I mean you can see the number of events that are happening day in, day out. And you can see a lot of people attending a lot of events, and your Instagram's blowing up with all these tags of people attending, left, right, and center. And I think the question is, what actually comes out of attending all these events? If you take a minute to stop and think about, what are the outcomes from me being so busy attending these events? If they're positive outcomes for your business especially, then I say go for it. Be as busy as you can, collect those business cards, because you clearly understand how to network and make it happen for you. But I think the problem is the majority of people end up feeling exhausted, overwhelmed. They feel busier than ever, and they're actually not moving their business forward. So if that's the case, then you need to take a step back and I think be more purposeful with your time and stop going to events that are too busy where you're not necessarily moving your business forward.
I think that's really sound advice. I think there's also, again with social media, a lot of FOMO, that fear of missing out, that if someone's gone to this event, whether it's a glamorous location or they just feel they should be there, and people, as you said, are not being intentional about it, but more just, we need to follow and we need to be seen at that event. So I think that's good sound advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from founders, because obviously with Crew, we've built a community where founders, they have the ability to attend some of our meetups, and I have very intentional meetups. They're smaller, and it's funny because I get messages all the time, even about those smaller scale events, where they get the FOMO and they say, "Oh my gosh, Carmen, I missed last week's Crew meetup. I really wish I could have come." And obviously they understand that there's a lot of value that happens in those meetups. So I understand the FOMO, but yeah, I think that just justify, why are you feeling the FOMO? Are you feeling the FOMO because it's an ego play? Like, are you, I wish I could have been there to be snapped at, whether it's the Atlantis Royale because it looks so incredible and fancy. And I understand that from an ego play, but just a question, is the FOMO justified, really, if it's about your business and moving it forward?
Yeah, about being intentional, definitely. Are we too quick to label someone a competitor instead of a potential collaborator?
So I see this a lot with founders. When I started Crew especially, and I'm matching people intentionally, and I match people through email, so I keep it very simple. I would actually match people across a variety of spectrums, including they were potential competitors. And even with you, Vaishali, I know I've matched you. You're obviously in the wedding industry and you have the Dubai Wedding Collective. There are other people in Crew that are also building wedding communities, and I've matched you with people like that, right? There's a lot of founders that I think they see competition as a threat rather than an opportunity. And they're overestimating the threat and underestimating the opportunity a lot of the times. So I believe that the space is big enough for everyone, number one, but also there is incredible opportunity if you can collaborate instead of thinking of somebody as a competitor. Especially if you're earlier on in your business, you need to be able to get visibility. And if you pair up with somebody that has a similar audience to you, it's a no-brainer to me that you should be actually more confident in yourself as well and understand what is your USP, because you're unique and I'm unique and we have both different offerings, even if we're playing in the same space. And so I just think that there is so much opportunity on the table if you look at collaboration in a different light. Versus, thinking of them as a competitor.
Definitely. I'm a big fan of community over competition. And as you said, it's kind of surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and you can learn from others. And everybody is different, the way they've been brought up, their culture, what they stand for, their values, what their service offering is. So there is the opportunity for everyone to shine, to stand out. But why not have that kind of community and collaboration? So I'm a big fan, and I know my businesses have grown through collaboration, very much so.
Absolutely. And that's a testament, right? Like when you can see that the outcomes are positive for business, to me, it's just changing the mindset as to what can this actually do for my business is key.
Definitely. Thank you. So where do you see the biggest missed opportunities for collaboration among founders?
Yeah, it's funny. So when I first started Crew, it was an experiment, and I would start sending matching emails to founders where they were considered, I guess, very unique collaborations or out of the box. And I had some founders push back and respond to me saying, that has nothing to do with my business. Why would I be matched with them? And I would have to explain, in the early days especially, that there are a lot of collaborations that happen in business that are out of the box and they actually perform incredibly well. So if you look at an example, Huda Beauty, we all know Huda Beauty. She collaborated with Saint Laurent, who is a music artist. And you could say, okay, beauty brand, music, what has that got to do with each other? But Saint Laurent had a massive hit at the time called Calamantina. I was playing it constantly on my phone. I absolutely love it. But it was about the oranges in his local custom. And Huda Beauty saw that, okay, there is a lot of attention currently going to this song. There's a lot of people that love the song. They're playing it constantly. It's always on their mind. And Huda created a special beauty product that was orange themed, and it ties into the Calamantina theme. And then she did a music video with him, and they collaborated together, and it was a massive success. You know, the product would sell out very quickly. I think that's just a classic example of two businesses coming together, where if you looked at it on paper, you would think that would never work, but it does because it is so unique. And once I could explain and showcase to Crew especially that there are ways, even when you're small as a business, if you can think outside the box, you can tap into audiences that you may never have even thought would be interested in your product or service. And you could really have an incredible outcome happen from collaborating with people like that. So over time, I've been really proud to see that the mindset in Crew it's become so much more open-minded. And we've seen collaborations happen between whether it's a candle brand and another random business that you would never assume would come together, like coffee. It's incredible to see those come together, and the outcomes have been really positive.
Definitely. I think that's where there's diverse thinking and where that comes together. I think that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely.
And there's industries from like fashion, beauty, you talked about a lifestyle, creative industries that when they come together, I think it's amazing. Like often I'm posting on LinkedIn and Instagram these unique collaborations because they've seen something, the values are there. The industries may be different, but the values are there, and they both brands feel that they can improve by working together. So I love that.
And if you study business, you know that behind the scenes, even the big players, even competitors like Samsung, they actually produce parts for Apple,
yes,
but they compete. There's an example where Burger King in Brazil during COVID times, they actively encouraged people in Brazil to purchase McDonald's and support the restaurant business as a whole. And you could turn around and say, well, but they're direct competitors. That's crazy. I think that really business, like people that understand business, understand that there is power in coming together, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's outwardly to show goodwill. There's just so much power in that mindset.
Definitely. And I think if the values are aligned there,
absolutely,
I think that's where it works well.
Values are key.
So I'd like to ask another question. So founders say that they're flat out, but how much of that time is actually meaningful work and how much is busy work disguised as productivity?
It's a great question because I think I chat to founders every day, and the most common response to how are you or how's business is it's flat out, it's busy, it's crazy, it's hectic. And I feel the same. I mean, even with building Crew, every day is mental, but I think what's really important is to stop and think how much of what I'm doing in the day is actually progressing my business. And what's fascinating is we have a systems magician in Crew, and she has these incredible cards that help you distinguish what are my goals for my business, what do I actually need to focus on, and what actually should I be doing activity-wise to achieve those goals? It's such a simple process. She has these cards. It's like a magic trick. But at the end, it boils down to 2 to 3 tasks is all you should be focusing on to achieve some really big goals that you have at a certain point of time. But if we really drill down on our day as founders, a lot of us are doing 20, 30 things, constantly moving around. And I empathize with that because especially when you're starting a business, there is a lot to do. But I think that we need to be more mindful about what are the tasks that actually need to get done right away and what is just noise. What can I say no to? Because that's a big thing. I think there's a lot of people that are people pleasers, and I talk to a lot of founders, they struggle with this. They take all the meetings, they take all the podcast recordings. I only take the good ones,
Thank you.
But it's important to know what do I need to focus on right now and what is not actually going to move the needle, putting those things to the side and focusing on what you do need to do.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I'm completely understand, running 2 businesses, Creative ID and Ananya Cards, running across 2 cities, Dubai and London. So I know what busy is like.
You've been in business for 25 years, Vaishali, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's still not a blend always. But yeah, so it is important, and I think sometimes people almost have it as a badge of honor to say, oh, I'm so busy. But actually, going back to what you said earlier, it's about being intentional. So I think that's important. Yes, we are busy, but as you said, what are the key things we're doing? If our list is 20 things, do we really need to do those 20 things? I'm also a big believer in delegation and outsourcing to someone that is better than what you do or better than how you would do it. And we don't all have the time. So look at that list of things, look at your tasks, and is it something that you can delegate, or do you need to do it?
Absolutely.
Or do you need to do it today? Could it be put off for a little bit later? I think especially in this kind of instant, always on environment, everyone feels, oh, this email's come in, I've got to deal with it now. Do you really? Could it wait?
Exactly.
So I think that's important. I'd love to know, because I don't do it, do you time block?
Yes. So I actually, it's funny, I've been listening to a lot of advice from entrepreneurs that are ahead of me, and I think that's actually something that we should all be doing, no matter what stage of business we're in. And I have asked about, how do you manage your time? Because it does feel like insane, and you can get pulled into so many different directions. And I have been told that time blocking is very, very important. And I think that everybody will have their different systems. I've spoken to entrepreneurs that they time block in different ways. And so you need to find the system that works for you. The system itself is the most important thing. So actually having systems in place, delegating is very key. And even when we're talking about collaborations, actually playing to other people's strengths is key. So knowing, okay, what am I good at? What should and that also boils down to the time blocking too. What am I actually doing in this time block? What can be delegated to somebody else? But yes, I do. I have set times. I also have set meetings that happen recurring every week. So with my assistant, with my CTO, I set those times, and it helps me create a routine as well, because I like to work out first thing in the morning, for instance. And if I don't have those routines, I won't go for my workout. And that actually impacts the rest of my day, how I'm feeling. So I do time block. I just do it in a way that suits me. And I would never tell somebody, copy my exact systems and processes. You have to find the right way that will work for you, but you should have some sort of system in place.
Yes, I agree. So I don't call mine time blocking, but I have a list of what I want to achieve that day, and I prioritize.
Absolutely. I love lists.
Yes,
I absolutely love them, but I also make sure that I evaluate my list. So I have my list can feel crazy long, I've got all these check boxes, etc. But then I look at my list and say, okay, what do I actually need to prioritize? What's the big goal that I'm looking to move forward to? And I will actually move tasks lower down the list if I'm like, that's not important, that can wait, that can be pushed back. And we need to do more of that, not choosing what's on our list that's easy to get done necessarily. It's what's actually going to move the needle.
Definitely. Okay, so one last question.
Sure.
If you had somebody in front of you, a founder that wants to scale up in business, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Systems. Systems, because you can, I mean, even with crew, when I started, I had the idea that I'd have 50 people in crew. And if I could match 50 people really well, then I've proven the concept. Now we're doubled at 100 and I've got a wait list. And the problems that I now need to solve at 100 are different to 50. Same with 200 and 500. And now I have a CTO on board that's helping me scale. We are going through a lot of systems, processes, etc. You know, what do we need to do in stage 1? What do we need to do in stage 2? I think that if you have the right systems in place, they will enable you to scale. However, what I will say is that a lot of people focus a lot on tech, and I'm focusing more on the human side of things. I'm really focused on solving the problem of networking being cringe, inefficient, etc. So that's always at the heart of what I'm doing. And I believe that the scaling with the right systems in place, we can get there, but don't forget your purpose as well.
Very true, very true. Very sound advice. And I'm very much a believer in relationships and nurturing those relationships. I come from a family business of 103 years, so it's 3 generations of relationships. My business at 25 years, I have most of my clients, or many of my clients, have been with me 10 plus years.
Wow.
I have a couple of clients that have been with me for all 25 years. So for me, that's the importance, and especially in this kind of AI world, digital world, I think don't underestimate the importance of relationships
100%.
and nurturing, building those relationships.
Absolutely. And it's so easy. I see other people in my space or other businesses, and there's a lot of AI matchmaking now happening. And I don't match people for love. I get asked that a lot. I'm matching for business, but I see it across the board that there's a lot of solutions out there that are focusing so much on the tech and, oh, AI is going to solve this. Actually, it's a human problem that we're solving. We're solving the problem of how do we build meaningful connections that, you know, deliver business outcomes. And people that do that well are really good at relationship building. And we need to teach the tech over time what that even means. We're not there yet. So at the heart of everything we do need human relationships are key. And that's really what I'm focused on as well. I actually say it's human focused and tech empowered and tech enabled even. Tech is second in everything.
Love that. Well, thank you very much, Carmen.
Thank you
for joining me today. I really enjoyed our discussion, and hopefully there's some nuggets for people to take away with them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.